Hello again, everyone. This video we're going to take a look at Abraham's bosom and what it is. First, we're gonna watch. I guess I'll comment along the way. It's about a 3-minute clip of a video that Steven Anderson did about what he believes Abraham's bosom is, and we'll see what we'll take a look at the scriptures as well. So I'm going to start the video here, and we'll pause it along the way.
Now, people can debate in the Old Testament, they didn't go to heaven, they went to paradise or Abraham's bosom. I don't believe in that. I believe they went to heaven, of course. I believe that paradise and heaven are the same place, and that Abraham's bosom is a body part, not a place, okay?
Okay, so just first point, I'll prove to you with scripture that paradise and heaven, while they are the same place today, were not the same place whenever Jesus walked the earth. And so this is kind of how he gets over on his group a little bit too, whenever he starts making jokes about stuff that they're kind of red herrings, and people laugh at it, and tries to make fun of a doctrine to make it sound stupid. He exaggerates about what people believe, because well, let's listen.
Here's the thing, it's a bosom, it's a chest. When it says he's in Abraham's bosom, it means he's leaned against Abraham's chest. I don't understand how anybody can think that Abraham's bosom is a location that you go. That's just a misunderstanding of plain English. A bosom is, look, John leaned on Jesus' bosom at the Last Supper. Look, if I were to, come on up here, Dominique. Okay, look. If I were to put my arm around Dominique here, notice, this is my bosom. Notice, he's in my bosom. Everybody see that? He's against my chest. This is how John and Jesus were at the Last Supper. This is how Lazarus and Abraham were in Luke 16. Abraham is like this. Lazarus is in his bosom, all right? He's not like inside, like Abraham, like this gigantic Abraham with a gigantic chest cavity, and everybody...
See how ridiculous of a joke that he makes, and everybody thinks, to try to make it sound really stupid, but he just doesn't, whether he doesn't understand or he's just doing it on purpose. If we compare John, where John is lying on Jesus' bosom, not in his bosom, it says in verse 23, "Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, in whom Jesus loved." In Luke 16, it says, "And it came to pass," in verse 22, "that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. And the rich man also died and was buried, and in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom." So what the Bible's doing here is it's contrasting two places where people went. Lazarus went to be in Abraham's bosom, and the rich man went to hell. And if you continue to read, it says that Abraham tells him there's a great gulf fixed between us. So I don't know where he thinks this gulf is. He think that the rich man is looking across the universe into heaven, and that's the gulf. That doesn't make any sense. There's a place where they are in the ground, and there's a great gulf between the two places. I can look across and see someone, and they can look across and see me, but I can't get to there. And that's what it's talking about.
He's inside. But people say, hey, they go to Abraham's bosom. That's a big bosom if everybody goes there. That's quite a bosom. But here's the thing about that. Even if you believe in that Abraham's bosom thing, which I don't, but wherever you want to put this mythical center of the earth, paradiso, Abraham's bosom place, okay, let's say that were true, right? Well, let me ask you this. Abraham be in Abraham's bosom? He's there for sure. It's named after him. Okay, so let me ask you this. When Jesus walked on this earth, was Abraham alive or dead according to Jesus? Okay, so are the people in Abraham's bosom, even according to that doctrine, are they alive or dead? Is Isaac alive or dead? He's alive. Is Jacob alive or dead? He's alive. Okay, so let me ask this. If Jesus, when he died on the cross, supposedly, he didn't go to hell, like Acts 2:31 said, he just went to he went to Abraham's bosom, he went to paradise. Well, here's the thing about that then. Then would he be alive or...
We're not, just for the video, we're not arguing that he didn't go to hell. We're just talking about where Abraham's bosom is. So that's irrelevant. I'll let him finish and then we'll make my last point here.
He'd be alive because if Abraham's there and he's alive, Isaac's there, he's considered alive, Jacob's there, he's considered alive. Look, if Jesus goes where Abraham is, then he's alive too. But Jesus said, no, I was dead. Now here's the thing. Death, this is key. Hell is...
Okay. So now what he's doing is he's trying to convince you that because Jesus called Abraham alive, Isaac alive, Jacob alive, he's God of the living, not of the dead. He's trying to convince you, and elsewhere Jesus says he was dead and now he's alive. What he's doing here is he's conflating two concepts. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob talking about being spiritually alive, and Jesus, when he's talking about I was dead and now I'm alive, talking about he was physically dead. He's showing that he is God because he has power over physical death. He's not. So what he's conflating two concepts here and saying, basically, he wants you to think Jesus meant he was spiritually dead in hell. But I'll show you two scriptures that when you compare them, there's really no way to get around it. That paradise at that time was not in heaven. It was somewhere else. So if we look at John, is it 18? John, where is it? 19. John. Oh, come on. Maybe it's first day of the week. Yeah. Oh, maybe it's Luke. I got my accounts of the crucifixion messed up. All right. So if we have Luke 23 in our hand, and we turn to Ephesians chapter 4, you compare these two scriptures, and it puts this false teaching to bed that paradise and was always in heaven. People always went to heaven when they died. All right. So in Luke 23, Jesus talking to the thief on the cross, he says to him, "Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise." Okay, which Steve says is heaven. But if we look at, but where did Jesus go when he died? Did he go to heaven? No, he didn't. He didn't go to heaven. So how did he get to paradise with the thief? Did he take him to paradise and drop him off, give him a pat on the back, and then go down and spend his 3 days in hell? No, because it says in Ephesians chapter 4, read Ephesians chapter 4, it says in verse 7, "But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same also that ascended far above all heavens, that he might fill all things." So he descended first before he went to heaven. He also tells Mary Magdalene that, "Touch me not, I have not yet ascended to my Father." So if the thief was with him in paradise that day, and he didn't go to heaven, where's paradise? it must be in the earth, in Abraham's bosom. Yeah, and there's other places you can look. You can look in First Samuel. And you just have to be honest with yourself. You show these things to people like this guy, and they'll rest them. They won't be corrected. They'll just rest the scriptures to death. Let's see. Okay, First Samuel, chapter 28. This is where Saul goes to see the witch of Endor, and he wants to talk to Samuel. It says, "And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth," coming up out of the earth. "And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up. And he said, He is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? The Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. The Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, given it to thy neighbor, even to David, because thou obeyedest not the voice of the Lord, nor executest his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines." So Samuel came up out of the earth. Where'd he come from? Abraham's bosom. So, that's pretty much it. You compare Ephesians 4 with Luke 23, and you can see that Jesus tells the thief, "You'll be with me in paradise." And you can see that Jesus did not ascend to heaven before he descended, so paradise must not be in heaven at that time. All right, so that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.